Imagine a quiet morning in a normal neighborhood. The sun is shining, birds are singing, someone is making toast. Then, without any warning, a house just explodes. Not from a gas leak, not from a fire, but from something you probably have in your own home right now. A simple water heater. This isn't just a story, it really happened. A water heater in a basement decided it had enough. The pressure inside got too high, it turned itself into a giant metal rocket. It shot straight up through the floor. It blasted through the first story. Then it tore through the roof, and flew 500 feet into the air. That's higher than a 40-story building. This isn't an action movie. This is real physics. To understand the danger lurking inside a simple water heater, we first need to talk about pressure. Think of pressure like a crowd packed into a small room. Everyone is pushing outwards, against the walls, the ceiling, the floor. That collective, constant pushing is what we call pressure, a force exerted over a specific area. Inside a tank, you don't have people. You have tiny particles, trillions of air and water molecules in constant, chaotic motion. They're like an unimaginably huge swarm of microscopic bees, constantly colliding with each other in the walls of their container. Each tiny impact is insignificant, but together, they create a powerful uniform force. A car tire is a perfect example. When you pump air into it, you're cramming more particles into the same space. They collide with the inner walls more frequently and with greater force. This creates the pressure, measured in pounds per square inch or PSI, that's strong enough to hold your car up. Now add heat. Heat is energy. When you heat the particles, you give them more kinetic energy, making them move way faster. They hit the walls of their container not just more often, but with significantly more force. It's a fundamental law of physics. For a fixed volume, when temperature goes up, pressure goes up. This is why you never leave a spray can in a hot car. The sun heats the contents, the particles go wild, and the internal pressure skyrockets. The can is designed to hold a certain pressure, but if that limit is passed, the metal fails. Boom! The can explodes with enough force to shatter a window. Now apply that to water in a sealed container like this heater. At sea level, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. But under pressure, that boiling point rises. The pressure physically prevents the water from turning to steam. So you can heat it to 250, even 300 degrees, and it stays liquid. This is superheated water, and it's holding a tremendous amount of thermal energy waiting to be released. Most modern tanks are strong and have safety valves like the temperature and pressure relief valve on this heater. If things get too hot or pressure builds too high, it's supposed to open and release the excess. But what happens if that valve fails? If it's corroded or stuck shut? The pressure keeps building relentlessly. The steel tank becomes a bomb. If it ruptures, that superheated water will instantly flash into a massive volume of steam. That's when things get really dangerous. Inside every pressurized tank, from a simple water heater to a massive industrial boiler, a silent battle rages. It's a constant arm wrestle between the immense force of the contents pushing outwards and the structural integrity of the steel shell designed to contain it. For years the tank is winning, but conditions can change. An external fire can heat the contents, causing the pressure inside to skyrocket. The force becomes relentless, constantly pushing, searching for any weakness in the steel. As the pressure climbs past its design limit, the steel begins to yield. The walls stretch and visibly bulge, an ominous final warning. This extreme strain creates microscopic damage within the metal. Eventually, a tiny invisible crack starts to form, often near a weld seam where stress is concentrated. This is the point of no return. In a fraction of a second, the tank loses the fight catastrophically. The crack propagates through the weakened metal at nearly the speed of sound. It's not a leak, it's a complete, violent disintegration. The sudden pressure drop causes the superheated liquid inside to instantly flash into vapor, expanding to hundreds of times its original volume. It's like popping a balloon, but with the energy of a bomb. The crack rips open, and this vapor cloud explodes outward. This expansion generates a devastating shockwave that races out at the speed of sound. You hear it as a deafening boom, a concussive force that can shatter windows and knock people down. If the contents are flammable, like propane, the danger escalates. The expanding vapor cloud mixes with air and ignites, erupting into a massive fireball. This is a BLEV, a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion, one of the most dangerous industrial accidents. Even with non-flammable contents, the energy release is staggering. The rupture becomes a powerful, uncontrolled nozzle. As the jet of superheated steam shoots one way, the multi-ton tank becomes an unguided missile, rocketing in the opposite direction, demolishing anything in its path. So how does a broken tank become a rocket? It's the same science that sends astronauts to space. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Let a balloon go. Air rushes out, balloon flies. A rocket shoots hot gas at high speed. That's the action. The equal and opposite reaction pushes the rocket up. A ruptured tank does the same thing, only uncontrolled. Can a simple home water heater really turn into a rocket? They took a standard 52-gallon heater to a safe test range. Do not try this at home. Professionals. Procedures. Safety gear. They disabled the safety valves, the devices that prevent overpressure. Now it was a sealed container. They turned on the heat and backed away. Pressure climbed past design limits. The walls bulged. You could hear it creak, over 300 psi, roughly 10 times a car tire. Then the bottom blew out. Steam blasted down, the tank shot up like a rocket. It flew over 150 feet, then crashed as a mangled wreck. Myth confirmed, pressure can turn a water heater into a rocket. What you saw was a demonstration of a catastrophic pressure vessel failure. This isn't just TV, the physics are very real. It happens in the real world, in a phenomenon known as a bleave, a boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion. When a tank holding a pressurized liquid ruptures, the liquid instantly flash boils, expanding into a massive vapor cloud with devastating force. Industrial sites are full of these pressurized tanks. They're essential workhorses, holding everything from superheated steam and volatile chemicals to simple, compressed gases. They operate under immense internal forces, forming the backbone of modern industry. The 2005 Texas City refinery disaster is a tragic example. An overfilled tower vented a massive, flammable cloud that ignited. The explosion hurled heavy fragments extraordinary distances. The tank itself becomes shrapnel, but these pieces also act like rockets. The rapid release of pressure propels multi-ton sections of the vessel at incredible speeds. In some cases, multi-ton pieces landed half a mile away. This creates a terrifying domino effect for first responders. A flying fragment can easily pierce another tank, triggering a cascade of secondary explosions. It's a nightmare for firefighters, as the disaster zone expands with each new blast, making any rescue attempt incredibly hazardous. But the danger isn't limited to huge industrial vessels. Even smaller cylinders, acetylene, oxygen, propane, demand respect. Acetylene is notoriously unstable, and a ruptured oxygen cylinder can turn a small fire into an inferno. Simple damage or heat exposure can lead to explosion, which is why crews cool tanks with water, to reduce pressure buildup and prevent catastrophic failure. To put it in perspective, even a truck tire at around 100 psi can become a deadly projectile. That's why safety cages exist, to contain violent failures. Tanks are also fitted with pressure relief valves, but ultimately, the best safety feature is a deep respect for the power being contained. High pressure, even just air, is stored energy, powerful, useful, and dangerous if mismanaged. Exploding tanks turn into rockets, and danger multiplies. First, the blast wave, a wall of compressed air that can injure at a distance. It can rupture eardrums and damage lungs. Second, shrapnel, jagged metal moving faster than bullets, often the most lethal part. Third, the rocket itself, a heavy, tumbling projectile with no predictable landing. Finally, fire and heat, burns and fast-spreading secondary fires. There is no safe place near the center, the only safety is distance. The good news, these events are extremely rare. Multiple safety layers prevent overpressure. Your water heater's T&P valve vents hot water or steam when needed. Make sure the discharge pipe isn't blocked. Have a pro inspect and test the T&P every couple of years. Don't use rusted or dented cylinders. Check dates, recertify as required. Never store propane indoors or in hot enclosed spaces. Industrial tanks are regularly inspected for corrosion and cracks. Never modify or disable safety features. Respect the pressure. The explosive rocket-powered truth about pressurized tanks isn't magic, it's physics. Pressure stores energy. Design and maintenance keep that energy in the box. Respect the engineering, and it stays safely where it belongs.